I was the last one out of all my friends to get home from my mission, and I saw, unfortunately, a lot of my friends that had also served missions had kind of just fallen either right back into high school version or digress even a little bit more. I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm not ready to be back in this environment. I've had a transformative experience as a missionary, a full-time missionary. You don't have this little white handbook anymore to follow and all this stuff, and it's really the rubber is going to hit the road where you decide to apply the things that you learn on your mission or not.
Welcome back to Authentic Gospel. We're so happy to be here today. We just feel so blessed with all the support we've gotten. We just hit 4,000 by the time we're recording this. Yeah, it's just crazy to us.
And in 2 months, that's insane. Sorry to interject.
You're fine.
That's amazing.
Thank
Congratulations.
you. Thank
Obviously,
you.
you're doing something that is making a difference and is catching the attention of people that need to hear this.
Oh, we
That's
really
so
hope
kind of you. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, our guest, the one who just spoke, he's actually the coolest person. He is one of the, what do you call it? Owners?
Host.
Host?
Yeah, host.
Founder? I don't know.
Stick of Joseph, which is such a good podcast. I just recently started listening to it. I've like always known like what it is, but like I've started recently listening to it, and I feel like I just get so educated. Like I need to understand the doctrine, and y'all just do such a good job at it.
And let's not forget to call out the new show too.
Oh my
Daily
gosh.
Saints. Yeah, everybody go subscribe, do whatever.
Latter
you're
Daily
supposed to do.
Saints.
Subscribe to us too, by the way, if you haven't, because 98% of you haven't. So be sure
We
to just
say
go
that
do
every
that.
time.
But it's true, 98% haven't.
Yeah.
And our episodes come out at Sunday at 8 a.m. So if you are already excited about next week, just keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm. Jackson, we're going to turn the time over to you. We just want you to tell us about yourself. This is your episode, like your mission, just...
Where did you even serve?
Yeah.
Because I have no idea.
I got my mission call in June of 2017 to Lisbon, Portugal.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Oh, I love that place.
Have you been?
I have.
It's the most amazing
So
place
good.
in Europe, and I've been to like 5 different countries in Europe. Not them all yet, but it's incredible.
It's so underrated. I feel like no one talks about it.
Yes. It's
Well,
the
I
hidden
feel
gem
like
of
the
Europe.
party pooper that I haven't been yet. I'm the only one.
It's so pretty.
Yeah,
I
you can
believe
look
it.
forward to it. But when I got that mission call, I was so ignorant about where that was. I was like, initial thoughts, I was like, oh, I'm going to South America. That's probably on me. I was not a very good student in high school.
Well,
and so,
Portuguese, Brazil. I think that's like
Exactly.
the first thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Você fala português?
Sim, eu falo português.
Hey,
There we go.
I didn't know you could do that.
Don't worry
either.
about it. Don't worry about it.
That's amazing. But yeah, I got my mission call, had a phenomenal experience as a missionary, really fell in love with the work. Fortunately, I had a really good example of my brother. One of the main reasons I wanted to go on a mission was I saw the huge change that happened in him. Not to be, expose Hayden, but he was a really big jerk in high school. And I was like, I'm never going to be really good friends with this kid. And then he went on his mission, and some things happened before he went on his mission in preparation that I started to see the change like before my eyes. And then when he got back, he was a huge influence on me to start leaning on God more and really understand why I should be a missionary. And I'll just share one quick anecdote. We shared a room after he got back from his mission, a very inspired decision by my mother. I'm like, I'm going to be sharing a room with a 21-year-old adult. Like, this is weird.
Wait, what's the age difference?
So he's 2 years, 9 months older than me. So
Okay.
I was in my senior year in high school when he got back from his mission. And the first night, I'll never forget, I am like nervous to be around him because like he's so different. And he goes down to our room to go to bed first, and then I go down, walk down the stairs. I see he's knelt down praying beside our bed. Not our bed, his bed. We didn't share beds, okay?
Wow.
This isn't weird, all right? Golly, slip of the tongue. Anyways, kneeled down on his own separate bed and praying, and I'm like, the immediate feeling I had in my heart was sadness because I knew that I hadn't prayed for a long time. Like, probably a year and a half had gone by that I hadn't said a single prayer. And So then I walked back up the stairs, waited 15 minutes, went back down, and he's still praying. And I'm like, this kid fell asleep. Like, no one prays this long. And so I go back upstairs for another 15 minutes, come back down. He's in his bed. And then we just start talking, and I'm offloading all these frustrations that I had at the time, troubles with friends, girls, all this stuff. And he just sat there and listened. And after I just offload everything that I hadn't really had someone to share with the past 2 years that he'd been gone, he's like, wow, Jack, thank you for sharing these things with me. I'm glad you talked to me about these things, but do you ever talk to God? And in that moment, I knew that it's been so long, and I had become so estranged to my Heavenly Father. And from that time forward, we started praying together every night. I really found a love for seminary, and it just propelled me to go on a mission, not just because it's culturally the thing to do in our Utah bubble, but because I knew that Jesus was my Savior, and I wanted to proclaim that truth. And so I went out there and had a really good experience. I'm not sure that you guys want me to share experiences on my mission and go fast forward till after. Or...
Yeah, we would love that. But first, I would just like to kind of piggyback off what you said about older siblings. That was a lot of my experience with my older sister going on her mission. Granted, I was already on my mission. But I remember just getting to that 6-month mark, and even right after COVID, when I was like 3 months in, and I was like, I don't know if I could do this. I just want to go home. And then I remembered, oh, my older sister did this, so if I come back early, I'm weaker than her. And that just kept going in my head. And I was like, I can't be the weak sibling. Like, I can't be the weak one. So that's what kept me out until I learned to love it. So I just love that you brought up, the impact that older siblings have, because it really does a lot to strengthen you and kind of push you past what you're comfortable with. So
yeah, and like now that you guys are doing a podcast together, like we can get into that later, but I think that just goes to show that y'all are pretty tight.
Yeah, we are now. And it's interesting because it shows me, like, when a missionary goes out, comes home faithfully, had a crazy life-changing experience, and you can see the countenance of Christ engraven on their face. One hot take I have is a lot of times then we immediately encourage them to move out of the house, get out of the house, go do their own thing, go to the young single adults ward, don't go to the family ward. When there's such a formidable example and force for youth, I was so grateful that he didn't immediately move out of the house, that I had that time with him to learn from him and understand why it is that I should truly prepare to be a missionary. And so a little hot take I have there, don't feel the need necessarily to immediately get out of the house and do your own thing. You have had a life-changing experience, and I think sharing that with your family is such a positive thing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, as a missionary, we actually did an episode, a little segment on this on one of our episodes of our daily show, Latter Daily Saints, the other day. As a missionary, I really fell in love with the work, and I had good relationships with all my companions, but I felt this like need around other missionaries to act like I was unfazable, and I was just like this perfect missionary and like classic, like pompous jerk. And, unfortunately, anyone that's watching this that served in the Lisbon Portugal Mission 2018 to 2020, you might be looking at me and be like, that guy was a Nazi on his mission. And I had so many experiences where I would go out and do splits with missionaries, and at the end of the day, they'd be like, we'd be sitting down just talking, joking, and they'd be like, Elder Paul, you're not as bad as I thought you were going to be.
That's
like,
the biggest backhanded compliment.
Yeah, but I'm like, well, I guess I'm not.
Like, sorry.
And so, yeah, I really learned that at the end of my mission, that being a disciple of Christ isn't sitting on a high horse looking down at other people or trying to act like you're perfect, but it's really trying to point people to Jesus Christ. And I'm glad I really grasped that at the latter part of my mission, because I think if I would have came home with that attitude, it would have been detrimental. But I came home January 2020. And
so because of COVID or right before?
No, right before.
Okay.
Normal world still.
Yeah.
No mask, none of that bull crap. And Yeah, it was tough. I got home, and first weekend back, I come down to UVU, and a lot of my buddies had moved into the same house and were hanging out with each other. And I just kind of saw that I was the last one out of all my friends to get home from my mission. And I saw, unfortunately, a lot of my friends that had also served missions had kind of just fallen either right back into high school version or digress even a little bit more. And in September of 2019, Hayden had enlisted in the United States Marine Corps. And I thought that was the weirdest thing ever. I'm like, what's going on with this guy? He's 24 years old. He's going to join the Marine Corps infantry. Like, what is happening here? And then after that first weekend, going and visiting some friends and seeing some kind of how the world was down here a little bit, I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm not ready to be back in this environment. I've had a transformative experience as a missionary, a full-time missionary, but I don't know if I have the resilience necessary to continue this progress. And so then my brother, he is leaving to Marine Corps boot camp a month after I get home, and he's always chirping in my ear. He's like, you should go talk to my recruiter. Like, you ever heard of Captain Moroni? Like, that guy's he's a beast. Don't you want to be like him? And I was saying all this stuff. I'm like, dude, like, I'm happy for you, but I don't think that's for me. And then the Sunday before, like the day you're leaving to boot camp, they invite your family into the recruitment center to kind of show you what your family member is going to go through, all the hell that they're going to endure for the next 13 weeks and stuff. And he's like, dude, just before the meeting with the family, you should go in early and get the lowdown. Like, you don't want to be some ignorant fool. Like, you're not closed off to receiving just the information.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll go in. And so then I go in, kind of get the lowdown, and I don't feel like, oh, this is the thing for me, but I'm like, oh, this is intriguing. And then after he leaves, I'm really just trying to think about the kind of man that I wanted to become. And it was really hard for me to adjust after I got back. And there was many factors at play, but I went to the temple, and yeah, one thing that is, I think, so amazing and almost essential for any return missionary, and tell me what you guys think about this, is going and becoming an ordnance worker at the temple.
Absolutely.
Have either of you had the opportunity to do that?
I did it before my mission,
Okay.
and it was like the greatest preparation, and what I recommend to everybody who has that little awkward waiting time before they leave on their mission, because just knowing all of those, like the words, having them memorized, and like everything you do, I don't know, it just helped me, because when COVID hit, we couldn't go to the temple.
Yeah.
And so I would just lay awake at night as a missionary and run through all of the memorizations that I had. And it was such a testimony builder that was critical for me. And when I came home, the same thing. And it's just a critical period of time. And if you're not going and doing that, I don't know. That's kind of a safeguard that allows you to adjust better, in my opinion. So
Yeah. I haven't personally done it, but I have a lot of friends that have, and they say that it's honestly a really life-changing experience for them.
Yeah, because you come out from this experience where you have the mantle of a missionary on, you have this motivation to get up, do your studies, you have something to hold you accountable, right, to God and your devotion to Him. And not saying that that's a necessary thing, but it helps you to stay in check. And so you have this mantle of missionary, you take it off, take off the name tag, and then you kind of are like, I'm my own person. I can do whatever I want.
yeah.
And you don't have this little white handbook anymore to follow and all this stuff. And it's really, the rubber is going to hit the road where you decide to apply the things that you learn on your mission or not. And going that first Sunday and saying to my bishop, I want to be an ordnance worker in the temple, was such a help to me to stay accountable and to know whatever I do that week, at the end of the week on Saturday morning at 5 a.m, I need to be at the temple to be a vessel to allow other people to have a spiritual experience.
Agreed.
And if I'm acting in such a way during the week that I'm not able to do that, then I'm not gonna be able to fulfill my commitment that I made.
Side note to add real fast, if you're looking for a sign, this is your sign to go talk to your bishop.
There you go.
And it's
There you
working.
go.
So
Would highly recommend it.
just
Yeah.
throw that in there.
Throwing it in there. So you talked about not feeling like you had enough resilience to, keep that going. What do you feel like was hindering that?
I think just thinking about going back, because my initial plan after coming back from my mission was to go to college with a lot of my friends and stuff. And when I went down and kind of saw what that was like, I was like, oh, I want to be as far away from this environment as possible. Like, I am not ready to be back in this lone and dreary world. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like my mission gave me an experience to really grow and understand my testimony. But when you're isolated from the world, you don't really learn how to continue those good habits and that motivation to stay connected with God when you're not a full-time missionary. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's true.
And so it's like you're isolated from all the problems from the world, so you're not actually in the world working out how you're going to merge these two worlds. And so then I am going to the temple. I'm working in the temple, and the last week that the temple is open before COVID, I have a shift at the temple Saturday morning. And what I love about it too is that they work into your schedule at least like 2 30-minute blocks of just study time where you can go to the celestial room.
Oh, really?
Oh, it's amazing.
That's so cool.
And you just sit in silence. You don't have your phone. There's no distractions. And you're just sitting in peace, reading the scriptures. And that alone is so worth it. And I am sitting there and I'm pondering about my future family, what kind of a man or husband and father I want to become, and is going to college right now immediately the answer for me? Is that going to get me to where I want to go? And I have this Marine Corps thing in the back of my mind, and I just feel I'm sitting there in the celestial room, and I say a prayer to God saying, look, if it means that I need to follow my big brother and become a Marine, whatever that entails, like, I'm willing to do that, but I need an anchor to look back on and know that that is the right decision for me. And so I'm talking to God, and I tell God, I'm like, so I'm going to open this triple combination, and even if you have to add a verse in here that hasn't been in here before to answer my question, I pray that I may be able to recognize it.
Says Jackson. You will go to the Marine Corps.
And so I'm like, with all the confidence and faith in the world, I'm like, God, I know you will answer my prayer. And I open and I just do the flipping point. And this is the verse that I flip to. Giving context that Hayden, once he enlisted in the Marine Corps, I just always referred to him as Captain Moroni. This is the verse that my finger touches. It says, and Moroni went to the city of Mulek with Lehi, and took command of the city, and gave it unto Lehi. Now behold, this Lehi was a man who had been with Moroni in the more part of all his battles. And he was a man like unto Moroni. And they rejoiced in each other's safety. Yea, they were beloved by each other, and also beloved by all the people of Nephi.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like floored.
It's a pretty solid.
I was like, this Lehi was a man who had been with Moroni in all his battles, and he was a man like unto Moroni. I was like, oh my gosh. This is insane. And I was like, so I left the temple. I remember I made a video. I'll show you guys. I walk out of the temple and I'm like, I guess I'm joining the United States Marine Corps, and I don't even know what that means yet. And I was like so in awe, and I just felt in my bones that this is a right thing for me to do, and it's going to allow me to progress more. And so then a few months later, I transitioned from being a full-time missionary to being in Marine Corps boot camp with my head shaved, and just all that entails.
Oh my gosh.
That's a crazy transition. Second of all, every time I do the flip and point, it backfires so bad, and I get like the worst
What do you mean?
scriptures.
What do you mean by that?
Like, I'll ask a question like what should I do and about this situation or whatever, and I swear I got the Lehi dwelt in a tent once, and I was like, this is not helpful. So that has never ever worked for me, but I'm glad it worked for you. That's
But maybe
so
it is
spiritual
though.
and cool.
But maybe it is though.
Yeah,
Could be.
Yeah, maybe.
I love
What does
the
that
flip
mean?
point.
Lehi dwelt in a tent. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But they've always been scriptures that have had no, like, there's literally no way it could relate at all.
Maybe.
Literally no way.
Maybe Kayla, maybe you need to look a little deeper. Because let's say
You
you're
tell her.
and look at this isn't me giving us some
I
friggin'
agree
sermon,
with you,
okay?
though.
But I'm just saying, if I am struggling, and I say Lehi dwelt in a tent, I'm like, tents? And back in those days, what was a tent? A tabernacle? What's a tabernacle? A temple? Maybe I should go to the temple. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Not to like lecture
Okay.
you or anything
No,
like
you're
that,
good.
but I'm just saying that, yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, point being, I just think it's
Yes.
cool.
that probably looks so mean to me, just be like, you're
No,
wrong.
like, what do you mean?
Not at all.
No,
Not at all.
I love
Yeah.
the flipping point though, and I don't know when you shared that, like I just thought that's so cool. Like
Yeah.
Moroni, you referred to your brother as Moroni.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Okay, now tell us about the Marine Corps.
And I wish I could look in your guys' eyes today and say that the United States Marine Corps, you look at the 2000 Stripling Warriors, it's a copy and paste. These guys are there to, defend their rights, so they're free in their religion. There's a lot of good guys in the Marine Corps, okay? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of good Christian guys, but there's also a lot of guys that want to legally commit murder, and so they join a organization that could potentially allow them to do that.
Wow.
And not to be so like peel back the curtain too much, but it's a really rough environment. And the first thing that happens, you get to Marine Corps boot camp, some guy that's just staring up at a TV, you sit down in a barber chair and he just grabs your forehead and just scrapes your head with a electric whatever razor, shaves your head, and I have like moles all over my head, so my moles are just getting cut off as he's shaving my head. And I go out of there, there's like blood dripping down, and then you go get in line against this wall and they tell you to sit down and they take your picture. And I'm gonna show you this picture, but I sit down in this chair and I'm still just so like in awe, like this crazy experience that I've willingly signed up for. And I sit down in the chair to get my picture taken. I sit down like this. And then immediately 5 grown men just start screaming at me all these profanities and like berating me. And I'm just like there. And then this face that I'm about to show you is the face that I wore for the next 13 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'll send that to Brandon so he can put that on the video.
Oh my.
But then I'm just thrown into this wild, like, imagine the most shocking transition from going just a few months before being a full-time missionary to then being in this really coarse environment. But what it provided was an opportunity of missionary work that was crazy awesome, because a majority of the guys that I was there with, they were 17, 18 years old. This is their first experience away from their mom or their home. And I had already gone out, been a missionary, figured out how to survive on my own, had all this life experience, that the mission provides you. And so all of these guys are just shaking in their boots, freaking out. And quickly you learn that in Marine Corps boot camp, the whole essence around it is to break you down, and it's all just a game to break you to then build you up into who they want to be, an obedient Marine that's able to accomplish the task, accomplish the mission. And I realized that like day one, when we meet our drill instructors, the first thing you do is you make and remake your bed for 4 hours straight. For 4 hours straight. And they count you down every single little thing you do. You have 2 sheets and a blanket and a pillow, and there's a certain way you have to put it on the bed. You have to tuck it in right, and you have to do it in the amount of time before the time runs out, or else everyone takes all of their 2 sheets and a blanket off their bed and you redo it. And the point is, you're going to fail. They want you to fail. And it was so interesting to see how people after like 30 minutes, I'm like, okay, this is annoying. I hate this. After an hour, everyone, like there's 90 guys in this little squad bay, and I'll send Brandon a picture so you can kind of visualize what it looks like. But there's 90 people in this squad bay, and 88 of the people are able to get their bed made on time, and there's 2 guys that are just straggling, that are freaking out. They don't know how to handle it. And to watch some of the reactions of some guys are just like to cuss and get pissed at these guys and start eating each other alive, where I would go and make my bed, and then with the 10 seconds extra that I have, I'd run over and I'd try to help them accomplish their task. And right off the bat, people started noticing, like, that's a weird reaction, you know? Why don't you just join us in cussing out this guy, because he's the reason that we're having to do this for 3 hours. And so there was a lot of really cool opportunities of service and missionary work that, like, right off the bat, people started asking me if I was a Mormon. And because really? I wouldn't cuss, and like it's so funny. I realized it was a game right off the bat. And so when you're standing at attention, like everyone's in a line next to their beds, and the drill instructors are running around just messing with guys. When a drill instructor wasn't looking, I would always I'd be standing like serious, and then I go like this. And then the 17-year-old kids across the way, I'm 21 at the time, they were just like, and then start laughing, and then they'd get yelled at. And so immediately off the bat, they could see like, oh, this dude's not fazed by this stuff and whatnot. So fun. And so then on Sunday, I remember the first time I got to go to church and partake of the sacrament after just experiencing chaos for the last 7 days. It was amazing, and it really just made me appreciate peace in the gospel so much, and how much the restored gospel is a tool to escape from the chaos of the world and look at it through, like, the thing that we say on our Latter-day Saints channel is, if you're not looking at the world through a gospel lens, you're only getting half the story, and that other half the story is chaos. Yeah. And so without the gospel, life would be very chaotic. And yeah, there's so many other experiences and stories, but if you're watching this and your conclusion is to join the Marine Corps, I failed you, because that's something I don't think is a good thing for a majority of people to do. But it allowed me to be put in an environment where I could establish myself as, I'm the Jesus dude from the beginning. Everyone expects me to be that. I'm going to further commit myself to God and Jesus Christ and be an example for good. And then so when I got home from that experience and I went back into the lone and dreary world, I had been in such a more extreme environment. I went from being a full-time missionary, where arguably it's pretty easy to get in the mode of being a disciple of Christ and all this stuff, to then going from the lone and dreary world to like the loner and drearier world, and then figuring out how to still be a disciple of Jesus Christ there, coming back here. It was awesome. It was the best thing I could have done for me.
That is so cool. Okay, I've got a question. How do you feel like?
Can I
yeah,
say
you
something?
go and
Okay.
I'll ask my question.
Yeah, I just was gonna say that's the essence, or the breakdown of so many stories in the New Testament and in the scriptures, right? Where it's just proof that, like Peter walking on the water, you can be calm and still and have faith and still do what Jesus Christ is asking you to do, no matter what's going on around you, like the wind and the waves. Or like Nephi and Lehi in the Book of Mormon, you know, they've got this fire surrounding them in the middle of a prison where they've just been beaten to death, and they're hungry, and they're just standing there and they're looking at God literally in the sky, and everybody else around them is just trying to kill them, basically. And so it's just proof that no matter what is going on around you, as long as you're rooted in Jesus Christ and you're really completely dedicated to doing that and understanding that, you can have the spirit with you and the peace with you that you need to keep going forward with that no matter what's going on. And that's my favorite scripture in the Book of Mormon. And what my mission scripture was Helaman 5:47, peace, peace be unto you because of your faith in my well-beloved, who's from the foundation of the world. Like, it literally does not matter what's going on. As long as you can look to the Savior who is given to us from the very beginning, we're promised that peace, like as much as we need, whenever we need it. Anyway,
I love that.
What was your question?
That's awesome.
I guess I was just wondering, so you talked about the high schooler that you were in when you went and saw Hayden kneeling down, saying his prayer. What if you never did go on a mission and you still joined the Marine Corps? How do you feel like that experience would have been different?
I don't even want to think about that, because I'm like, going into that course environment, I know people that have done it and then have gone on missions after. I personally, the way I am, it would have been a much more negative experience. And I hope, and I want to say that I hope that I would have, turned to God in those hard moments, and it could have been like a mission type experience for me. But I don't know. I'm just like, the experiences that I had where every day on my mission, I woke up just feeling so much pressure and anxiety every single day. And what I would do is, at the time, a year into my mission is when we got smartphones, and then that announcement in February 2020 or February 2019 that you could call home every week.
Right.
Before that, I would wake up. I was a trainer, 2 transfers into my mission, of a native Portuguese guy. I'm still working on my Portuguese. We're whitewashing into this area. I don't know anything. We have a paper map. And I wake up, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is awful. And then with my tools that I had, I turned to the Lord in prayer, and I leaned on him, and it allowed me to develop a habit of going to the Lord in prayer, leaning on the Lord, and he never let me down. And gaining those experiences as a missionary, and then going to the Marine Corps and having that same crazy anxiety with all the stuff that is thrown at you there for 13 weeks straight, those experiences were invaluable. So I guess we'll never know is the answer to your question, but I'm glad that I don't.
Yeah, that is a good thing.
So it's not a secret, maybe it is, I don't know, that you guys just got back from deployment as well. How did that play into your decision to take that deployment? Because you chose to do that, right?
Yeah. So it's always been this weird thing that we joined the Marine Corps Infantry Reserve. So basically what that commitment consists of is 6 years of going and doing training operations 3 to 5 days every single month, and then 2 weeks every summer for a more extended one. And then deployment opportunities come up every once in a while. So it's always been this weird relationship, because God gave me that anchor, right? And to kind of go towards the scripture even more, when it says Moroni went to the city of Mulek, and he took the command of the city and gave it unto Lehi. My first day in boot camp was Hayden's last day. And so we got to cross paths.
It was that close?
Yes.
Okay, I thought he would have already been done. But
no, so
okay.
They have this thing called Family Day, where outside of COVID, the family would get to go and see their newly formed Marine and stuff.
Okay.
And so that's the exact same week that I got there. And so since it was COVID, they weren't letting families on base. Hayden talked to his senior drill instructor and was like, hey, my brother is on base. He just barely got here this week. Can I go see him? And so set the scene. I'm one of the first days you're there, you don't sleep for 48 hours, and you have to get a bunch of vaccinations and stuff. And I'm sitting there at medical, falling in and out of sleep, and I hear some guy yell something twice, and then on the third time, I finally realized what it was, and they're like, who the freak is Recruit Paul? And then I'm like, here, sir, this recruit, sir, because you have to speak in third person the whole entire time. Yeah, they don't say that. They said many awful things. I was like, this recruit is Recruit Paul. He's like, get over here. And I run over there, and he's like, turn around, start walking. I start walking, and then I see a Marine, like just standing all tan and like with his Marine uniform on. And I stand at attention, and then I see the little name tape. It says Paul, and then my brother like lifts his head. It's like straight out of a movie, I swear. He lifts his head up, and I look at him.
Maybe we should recreate this and put it in the podcast.
I look up at him, and I'm like, "Good morning, sir," because any recruit has to talk to a Marine like saying "sir." So I'm like, calling my older brother. I'm like, "Good morning, sir," and he's like, "How you doing, bro? You hating your life?" Yeah. I'm like, start crying. I'm like, "Dude, what is this place?" He's like, "Don't worry, bro. It's gonna suck for like a long time, but you'll get through it." And then,
oh my God.
So then it's Moroni passing the city off to Lehigh, Hayden passing off the city to Jackson, and then we both join the infantry. So after you go to San Diego, you go up to Oceanside for like 2.5 more months for infantry training. And so then my first weekend there was his last weekend. He again passed the city off to me, and it was just crazy fulfillment of that anchor that God gave me, right? So all that to say, God gave me this anchor. I knew I was supposed to join the Marine Corps, but it seems like the Marine Corps was always getting in the way of the stick of Joseph or all these other things that we had going on. And I'm like, look, I feel strongly we need to be involved in both these things, but like the stick of Joseph, like it's progressing so well. We're getting so many messages of people like saying this is like changing the way I look at the scriptures and all this cool stuff. And then this deployment comes up that we have to leave for a year and put all that on hold. And we're like, dude, do we get out of the deployment? Like we're thinking of all this stuff. And then we talked to God, and God reassured me. I'll let Hayden speak for himself, but God reassured me, no, this is good. This is where you need to be. And feeling, completely just in my own mind, my plan that I have for Jackson's life, I'm like, this isn't compatible. Like, I shouldn't do this. I need to stay. I need to leave my wife for a year. Like, I can't even imagine doing that. And God answered my prayer and said, no, this is what you need to do. And luckily Hayden was out there with me for this last year. It would have been really hard to survive another course environment without him. But we, so many more spiritual experiences there.
That's cool. And I'll take a second to talk about a miracle for my family that came from your deployment, obviously.
Yeah.
We just my husband, Brandon, he was just finishing up an internship, and it awfully, perfectly coincided with the exact week I was going to give birth to our second baby. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. So I'm out of a job because I don't get paid for a maternity leave. And then he's out of a job because his job is literally ending. And we had no idea what we were going to do. We didn't know how we were going to pay hospital bills, none of that. And literally the week, was it a week or was it a month?
It was a week. It was
or 2 weeks before I had the baby.
A week and
or something.
a half. Yeah, a week and a half or 2 weeks.
Yeah, we just got a message from Colin, Kenzie's brother, and he's like, yo, these Stick of Joseph guys are hiring a video editor, which is what Brandon does. And all within a day, literally our life turned around, and miraculously, Brandon had a job to go to. And yeah, so I mean, I hate to say that we were blessed from you leaving, but we were, and it was great, and was such a miracle.
Yeah,
so.
That was one of the first testaments to me of the whole experience that, wow, this is inspired, because at the time we had another solution for we pre-recorded 45 different episodes.
Yeah.
And we had a solution, and then that kind of fell through. And so literally with a week and a half left before we leave, we're like, we don't have a video editor. So we do a call out on Instagram. We get a DM from B. Russin, and we're like, all right, dude, let's hop on a Zoom call. We get on a Zoom call, and I remember after Hayden and I, we call each other, we're like, that's the dude. That's the guy. And then we meet him in person, so cool. And we teach him everything about the channel in a week, and give him the God keys to the channel and be like, hey, please don't ruin this. And he has turned it into something that we ourselves, if we would have stayed here, it would have never turned into. And so God bless your husband, and I'm so grateful that it worked out like that.
Not to turn your story onto myself. I just thought it was a cool miracle.
No,
to
it's so involved
share
because it's an example of us. We're thinking, no, we have to stay or else this is going to be destroyed. And then it's God showing his hand being like, no, I have a plan. And even now, like, I can't imagine where the channel would be without Brandon. Like,
that's so nice of you.
He's amazing.
I'll tell him you said that.
He's amazing.
In case he's not listening to this entire episode that we just filmed.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Well, do you have anything else?
No, I feel like that was really good.
Yeah, we're just grateful that you took the time to film an episode with us. Do you have any final words for return missionaries about the adjustment or sharing your testimony or anything?
I would say, knowing what I know now, coming back from a mission, there's a few key things, obviously, that I would really strongly invite you to do. Go seek something that holds you accountable to the Lord, whether that's serving in the temple as an ordinance worker, magnifying your calling in your ward, or just seeking out service opportunities. Another thing that I didn't talk about that was really integral and kind of even after I joined the Marine Corps is being a part of an organization called Humanitarian Experience, HXP. I got to be a trip leader.
Loves HXP.
I love HXP.
Are you a trip leader or did you go?
I just went to 2 trips.
Oh my gosh. So
Lisbon was one of the stopping points.
And you went to Cape Verde?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we need to talk about it.
What?
So go seek out opportunities that will allow you to continue to practice merging these two worlds of being a full-time missionary, entering back into the lone and dreary world, and not succumbing to the temptations that are out there, but that you can rise above and really understand how to continue to be a dedicated disciple of Christ after you take the badge off. And I know that as you approach that in prayer, God will show you plans for your life that you never imagined and you might think are crazy. I hope for your sake that it's not joining the Marine Corps, but I know that if you put your trust in God in doing that with full intention to follow the answers that he will give you, that he's going to talk to you. And ChatGPT is not going to give you those answers. Okay? Go to God in prayer.
Again, Brandon, if you're listening.
Yeah, Brandon. Open up the scriptures. Talk to God, and you're going to be just fine. You're going to be just fine.
Perfect.
That's what I'll say.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
God bless.
Yeah. Don't forget to watch next Sunday at 8 a.m. And we are glad that you listened to this episode.
We're really bad at outros. So we're just going to
Stay curious and hungry. God bless.
This is
There you go.
Joseph. Perfect.